Oh my God, Christopher. Yeah, she probably does. They love themselves some curry. Oh man.
Curry.
Okay. Vivi, how are you?
I'm so good.
I'm a tree hugger. You can actually call me a tree hugger. I took your tips. There's something to this hugging trees here that just brings you back.
Keeping it simple.
Seriously.
I'm telling you, I do it all the time. It's like when you're around. I mean, haven't you ever gotten tired of yourself when you're like, okay, I'm just doing the most. I need to calm down.
Yes.
Step outside, hug a tree.
Yes.
Grab a leaf.
Colder than you think. Yeah,
it's
colder than you think, which is interesting.
And it feels like all of a sudden, it's like in the movies when your whole body just goes zoop and it just jumps right back into you and you ground.
Yeah.
I mean, it just reminds you that like, right. So you're not outside of your body, you're not outside of your head, you're not spinning out of control and just, too many things all at once. One thing at a time. Mm-hmm. Calm down.
Yeah.
Check yourself,
Yeah. See, doing the homework, because seriously, those trees take a long time to be grounded in that earth. So it's nice. You're just like, oh, yeah, it was good, Vivi.
And, sometimes, like I know working on sets and things like that, there's a whole lot of like busy, and then wait, and a lot of downtime.
Yeah.
But your head is still spinning. You're always you're trained to constantly look for something to do, solution. There's always something you can, especially if you're a proactive doer type of person, which I am. So, you're like, what now? Mm-hmm. And this last project I was on, I remember there would be a lot of that. And
hurry up and wait. Right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had read this thing where the Japanese do the tree washing. It's called forest washing or whatever, where they just walk along their beautiful forests, those bamboo forests they have and stuff. Oh. And it's supposed to be good for relaxation and calming. And it's a really funny, obviously the little video or whatever was, it was to be funny, but also at the same time, it's legit.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so I found myself in one of those moments and I just kind of sat down next to the tree.
Love it.
Looked at the tree and hugged it and I went, oh. And it happened.
I'm breathing, just feeling your energy right now.
It takes no time. It takes this hot second, whatever, before you continue on with the rest of the day and you're centered.
And it sounds like we're starting from the middle, but anybody listening and watching, we were talking about boundaries last week and how to really center yourself back with the boundaries. And
be grounded.
And my phone time went down too. Like that was really good. Trying to have more breathing time without my phone, like going on little walks. Because it's so funny. I was raised without phones, like cell phones, right?
I hated the phone.
Right?
Beepers, all that stuff.
Oh my gosh.
I never got one.
Right?
I did not want
Smart.
one. It was like how everybody wanted
Beeper
that.
made no sense though, the pager. You had to go to the pay phone, put 2 quarters, you know what I mean? Like, and then people are tracking you.
The pager was a check machine. Like it was,
if you
had one, oh no.
My parents were like, no, you're going out with the pager.
My parents had trust. Yeah. They were like.
Mine did not for good reason.
I mean, it was just like one of those, if I'm out, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'll call. Good and if I don't call, and that was the rule right there.
You call. You earn that trust.
And we established the call times. Mm-hmm. And if you don't call the times, then it's your ass.
Yeah. It's accountability.
But if you call, then you're good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I had a curfue. I believe in that, especially for young, good, bad, ugly, don't matter.
Consistency.
Curfew. Yeah, fully.
But I like went out without my phone for like 20 minutes. No, that's good. Yeah. You're damn good. But no, I went out without my phone for like 20 minutes. I was like, okay, what happens if somebody calls, blah, blah. And I have to remind myself that my phone is for my convenience, not everybody else's.
Yes.
Especially a cell phone. Because I'll get back to you. That's what I got a voicemail for. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'll call you back. I'll text you back. But
so this was a great segue into what we're talking about today. Affirmations, acknowledgments, positive, just energy and vibes, right? And good affirmation for yourself, right? Something to remind yourself constantly throughout the day is, I love my time and my energy. And it's just a good reminder. I read that a couple weeks ago in a book, and it was, I love my time because yes, your time is important. And I love my energy. Yes, your energy is important. What you put your energy into. And it's a good reminder because Otherwise, you can be, I am guilty of that. I fritter away. Like, I can help because I'm such a doer and I'm resourceful and I can do things, I can figure it out. I'm, that type. But all the time it takes to do that for other people, you kind of have to go, all right, getting back to boundaries and go, wait, I need to do that for myself. Pick and choose my time, my energy. How do I want to spend this? How am I giving back to myself? And that's positive. That is a positive thing. No need to feel bad about it. No need to feel ashamed. No need to feel embarrassed. This is just what I got to do for me.
Yep. And I'm all big on reminders. So affirmation is a big one for me. Yeah. It's creating a mantra. You know what I mean? My mantra is life is about creating yourself, not finding yourself.
Designing your life.
Yeah. But it's because I don't necessarily always know what I want. However, I know what I don't want because of the things that and that's about creating what you want, what you don't want. I don't feel like some people, just go, well, I'm going to find the love of my life. I'm going to find out what I want to do. You don't just find it. You create it because you go, oh, I tried that. I'm never doing that again. Yes. Or, oh, I'm a little scared to do it, but I did it and I liked it, and that's where the verbiage comes in for creating, not just finding. It's like willpower. I hate that word. I talk about it in my book. Oh, I don't have the willpower. It's giving over to cravings and desires where it's like, no,
that's an excuse.
It's an excuse. And it's the verbiage, though. It's the affirmation of telling yourself it's okay to just beating up on yourself. In.
Yeah.
No, it's not okay. What does that mean? Willpower. No, you can make a choice. And I made the choice because I don't want it that bad. How about that? But I think affirmations, I put Post-it notes sometimes on the mirror.
I love that.
You know what I mean? Just to remind myself. And an affirmation too is we talk about it a lot. Simple as making the bed, unless Topher's in it. But I try to make myself. I'm like, get out, babe. But I try to make my bed or put something away, doing the dishes or doing. So I just go, okay, I'm leaving it this way. And then that's an affirmation to myself that at least the world's crazy, but I did something for my own home zone kind of thing, to ground you.
It's crazy because part of affirmations is, it's choosing to be positive because you got to choose. It's not a natural thing that just kind of happens or whatever. I mean, yes, you can be predisposed to being a happy person or predisposed to be, but sometimes it just takes work and you got to choose to be like, you know what? Let me just cut the negative script out and go here. But a lot of your activity during the day or what you do informs a lot of that stuff, right? And not taking any responsibility or I know this can be controversial.
Bring it, girl. I love
it. But people need to take accountability for, how they try to, I also am going to try to stop saying try, how they do what they do or decide to do what they do or not do. And man, I know this is going to be controversial.
Bring it. I love it.
But and I grew up in the church. Family was Catholic. I went to an all-girls Catholic school. Although mine was great because it was kind of non-denominational. There were, there were Jews, there were Hindus, there were Sikhs. It was very all over. Yeah. Didn't have the dogma that a lot of...
It's LA for you.
But I loved it.
Yeah.
Because then you saw the diversity.
Absolutely.
And of just female life living, all of it. So that being that. Anyhow, I hate the fact that a lot of people go, well, it's up to God. We'll leave it at that point, boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, no, or luck. Yes, there is luck. But
what does luck mean? Preparation meets opportunity.
Boom.
That's luck.
Exactly. Right. It's not just it'll happen if it happens.
Oh, love of my life just knocked on my door.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. She is. Oh, there's
you do the work so that you're ready to receive somebody in your life that's going to lift you up or, you know what I mean? Or you keep yourself ready so that when the opportunity arises, you are ready to jump on it and go for that job, for that, sprint, for that. All of those things. And it's about putting in the preparation and the work because that's just what you want to do. That's how you want to, and that's a positive thing.
Yeah. But so is your relationship with God. So like you need to use God as a tool to say, hey, we've had these conversations. We're prepping together. He, she, whatever you believe that entity is for you.
Universe.
That is who I'm talking to. That's what we're prepping for. So then it's manifesting together.
Yes.
But don't think that God's going to pay your checks. Like, don't think that God's gonna fix it all for you.
You're paying your bills.
God is gonna support you being positive to go and find that job, to have that light.
Yes.
But he's not gonna sit there and be like, oh, how much you need this month? $48.94. Okay, God, no, not happening. That's delusional. But you have to be a verb behind.
Well, that's when religion and all that kind of stuff becomes an excuse for your lack of action. And I know that it's just going to be tight, and everybody, you could just add in, please. Add into that conversation.
Comment below. Because we're not knocking it. We're just saying you have to.
There has to be some kind of mindfulness and responsibility.
Ownership
of your own behaviors.
Exactly.
And how you go about your day, how you think about your day.
I don't think it's controversial at all. Yeah. I think when you look at it, like just like an affirmation is a positive thing to look at. Just like a church group, it's positive of any sorts. Like even if you go to AA, it keeps you aligned of sorts. But it's on you to pick the path. It's like drug addicts. I have so many in my life where it's just like, oh, I didn't have the willpower to do it. No, you chose to pick up the pipe again. You chose to do this again.
Sure.
Like, oh no, it's something in me. I cave into it. No, you chose not to do the 12 steps, which works for people.
It does.
Very well. Because there's a consistency, there's a rhythm, there's an algorithm to it really does work. If you work, it keeps on working for you. Just like anything in life.
Honestly, it's about taking the accountability.
Yes.
Yeah. And dealing with the issues at hand. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
And like I say, you're not 350 pounds because you like to eat. You're not a drug addict because you like drugs. You're trying to stay away from something that you're masking. And like if it comes, we were talking earlier about like finances.
Yes.
A lot of people it's taboo to talk about finances. Yes. And then I'm watching these people and I'm like, how are you paying for this Range Rover, this house in Manhattan Beach,
with the Joneses.
All these kids? And I'm like, there's no way. And then you see people just offing themselves or doing the do because they're broke and they don't want to be so shamed to live a life in quote unquote the hood because they can't afford this lifestyle anymore. And I'm like, I would much rather live small house, pay my bills at night. Because how do you sleep when you're in that much debt and you're dishonest?
Stress.
It's the dishonesty of it. So I always say like your debt is who you were. Mm-hmm. Paying it off is who you are now. Mm-hmm. So it's like, don't be ashamed that you have debt, you know, be a verb with it and go, I am accountable and responsible for paying it off now. This is who I am in the moment, you know? Yeah. And then that's an affirmation to yourself saying, that's the past. We don't live there anymore.
Right.
But this is what I can do about it now.
Yeah.
You know, live in the now and be present. And I feel like people just let the shame of what they used to be transcribe into what they are now, and that what is that living?
And I want to, and that's the thing. I want to say, like, if that's what you choose to do, no judgment here. If you want to have the big baller cars and do all that kind of different stuff, then own it, be accountable for it, and when if it ever does, if and when shit hits the fan, or if then that's just what it is. Don't complain. No complaining after that point. Then you go, all right.
When it gets repossessed?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Well,
and I'm for people showing. If you earned it and you know what I mean? However, what I say to people too is you can't repossess a degree.
No.
So what I say to people a lot is put your time and your energy into educating yourself first.
Yes.
And then when you want to do the big lavish things, great. You know what I mean? Good for you. I'm not against it as long as you can pay your bills at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these people think that money's going to make them happy. Right. And that's an affirmation to make them happy. And society can, how many celebrities and rich people do you know
that want to be famous without doing the work? And just want to be famous for being famous?
Or that are rich and think that that's a whole topic in itself. But I know tons of those. And then also people that think once they get money and that they have money, they're going to be happy. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No.
Well, that's been proven wrong every single time. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, unless you're truly happy with who you are and you hug a tree to know that nature is bigger than you and we're just here for a certain amount of time, then you're never going to be happy. And there's not amount of cars or chefs or any of that you can take on.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you really got to figure out like what makes you happy. And part of that would be affirmations, that, and by affirmations, I'm saying actions, things you say to yourself or how you treat yourself that can make you enjoy and savor what you have in the moment. Because honestly, the car, you can be excited and happy that you drive this car. You drive this Ferrari, you drive this Porsche. If a Porsche Turbo just showed up in the front, I'd be like,
I ain't hating. All day. Yeah.
But
it's going to keep me up at night knowing how I'm not going to pay the payments.
Yeah, I can't be in denial of what the big picture of what that is and means. And that's just that, that's who I am. That's who you are. You just have to kind of be present with your situation. The actual car itself isn't what's necessarily making me happy. It's, maybe cars is a reflection, especially in LA. It's a reflection or what you're trying to put across of who you are, what you represent, how hard you've worked. And so now I can have this car.
Well, which brings me to my next point, validation.
Yes.
So what's the what do you feel about that with validation? Is that a real, I feel like there's different parts of
that. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm a person that needs, it's like the love languages, right? I need validation from people I love.
I think everybody needs a certain amount of validation.
I'm a little extra.
Sure.
I'm a little extra. I feel like I really, because I give it so much.
I get it.
I need it. Sure. I need
Or if you were a kid that never had it growing up.
True. And I don't think you should be ashamed to tell people that. I'm the first one, but I'll be the first one to give it to you.
Yeah.
However, Louis Vuitton bags and stuff doesn't validate me.
No.
It doesn't. I like them. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to give up anything designer. I'm just always interested in people that need the cars or need that. I think because I've always watched.
Yeah, because they're filling a hole that's not,
right.
Retail therapy, which I'm about, but still.
Yeah, but that's not good. It's kind of being defining the different types of validation. Because validation doesn't always have to be negative.
No.
People are like, oh, you need validation. Yeah, right. Sometimes I do, mofo. Yeah, I do. I need you to tell me that I put a lot of work into how much I trained or worked out, and I look good because I've earned it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You put in the hard work and you want somebody to acknowledge it and say, hey, you look amazing.
And then what do you say to people that go, well, why do you need that so bad? What's wrong with you? Why do you need that so bad?
Well, it's like, why not? There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, everything in balance. Yes. Everything in balance. I'm not telling you, I'm not expecting it every minute, every day, every time I walk into a room. But a compliment here and there is actually welcome. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I love you once in a blue from your significant other or from your mom or your dad or your siblings or whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean? Oh, hey, you look nice.
Right. Thanks for doing the dishes.
Yes.
Ooh, sexy.
And just say it. Not just do it, but say it. Right. Because sometimes people really need to just hear it.
I love it. I love sitting in a room every
And there's nothing wrong with that. And so there's that whole thing of I show how I care by just actions. I don't need to say it. And I'm like, sometimes you do need to say it. Yes, absolutely. You do the actions. And yes, in fact, if you're doing the actions, don't you want acknowledgement that you're doing it?
Yeah.
And yes, thank you so much for working so hard and providing for us. Thank you so much for, cleaning all that up so that we can come here and not have to worry about that day. Thank you for thinking about that because you knew how tired we were going to be. Thank you.
Right.
You don't even need to say all of that. You just have to say thank you.
Yeah.
And, that goes a long, long way. And actually sharing all that is so positive that it just lifts the entire energy of the house or the mood or the
office, anywhere.
Yeah. It's so great. And I love it. I was at a restaurant, went to the bathroom.
Bathroom talk.
A couple of months. No, it was awesome. It was,
love it.
Because you know how restaurants can do. But they had a Post-it or like a thing on the mirror where the sink was, and it said, "You are enough."
Love that.
And I looked up and I went, "Thank you."
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
I was actually talking about drunk girls in bathrooms validating each other. You ever know that? If you need validation, go to a club and go in the bed girls' bathroom. Seriously, when they're out there, they'll be like, "Yeah, so good."
But that's funny. But it's great.
It's great.
I just watched a movie a few weeks ago, Booksmart.
Okay, I haven't seen
Olivia Wilde's first directorial thing. It's awesome.
Is it?
Really lovely. It's like coming of age story, two friends who are graduate their last year, or they're graduating senior year and they're going to go into college, and obviously life changes, right? But a thing that they do when they dress up to go someplace is they do the most and they overly compliment each other, like, "Ooh, you look good. And they start dancing, do this whole thing. And
I love it.
It was the sweetest. It was just a great exchange. And if more friends did that for each other.
Agreed.
In like a ritualistic kind of way, just like a dap or like a handshake or something, it would be amazing.
I love it.
It would totally build self-esteem.
Right.
It would totally build confidence. And it would just up your mood the minute you walked into a door or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was, and it wasn't even a main thing. It was just kind of what those friends did, but I thought it was the best.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love going into places I don't know, like parties I'll walk into, and I will just be like, you look so, and I mean it. Like,
You're
I will
good
find
at
at
parties.
least.
You know how to.
I love working a room.
Yeah,
I love it. Because there's nothing better than when the mood is awkward and weird and people don't know what to do. I love just ringing everybody in. Because I'm like, why not? It's the Italian in me, I think. I'm just like, how are you? Do you know that person? And if I don't know people, I'm just like, I'm having a conversation. You want to come over? Like, one of my good friends.
But you're really good about that. Not everybody can go say, hey, my name is Shanna. How are you? What do you do?
But you make it about the
here?
person. You go, oh, you look, yeah.
But it still takes some balls. It still takes some type of confidence and stuff to do that. I can do that too. I've learned how to be good at that or better at it. But sometimes, depending on the room, depending on my mood.
I get it.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it. But that's also, I like it. But you're right. It is, give me some validation. I think that's a craft.
100%. That is a skill. It's a great skill.
Do you remember we threw the birthday party at your house here? You guys threw me a birthday party.
Absolutely.
Years ago. Okay. Well, I'm really good at like asking people questions and like knowing, like we were talking about in an earlier episode about how I like know people's energy, when to stop asking.
Yes.
But I'll never forget when my brother came here and he tried to pull a Shauna and like ask people like, I don't remember.
Your brother's
who it
not
was.
good at it.
No, he made the girl cry in this kitchen, actually. Like, didn't mean to.
He also picked the wrong girl.
He picked the wrong girl, the wrong time, the wrong everything. And he was like, I'm not going to do that ever again. And he was like, I felt so bad. I was like, don't try to be me. Because he watches me do it. He's good at what he does. He is fantastic at what he does.
Yes.
But he's like, I just watched you do it and I watch other people and I'm not good at it. I'm like, then just don't do it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the person that works the room and you're like, oh God, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like I'm not a good waitress. I'll tell you that right now. I was the worst waitress.
You can't work with food.
But I can see you just
great
being
bartender.
like,
I ended up doing the bar, but I couldn't serve the food, the whole thing. You know what? It was the trays that would freak me out with the food on the trays and stuff. Because I'm tiny, I'm petite, and
I get it. Yeah, me, I'm just overly like, do you need anything else? Do you want anything else? Everyone's like, get away from my table. No, we're good. Like I'm overindulged. Like I give too much affirmation.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like anything else. But yeah, I bet you're little with the whole tray. That's an art.
Oh no, there's some tiny women or just people who know how to like handle and do the business. I was just super intimidated by it, and I was like, I'm not even going to attempt. I'm just not.
Plus, I wouldn't want to mess with you when you're in a bad mood or if somebody's an asshole to you. Like,
that takes a lot of people skills, and at that time, I just I
love it though.
But I could be in the bar.
Yeah,
which is crazy because that's also people's skills. It was just applied differently.
But you could be a bitch being a bartender, and it's kind of fun. Like you're not a bitch.
I wasn't a bitch, but I could give it back.
Exactly,
you know
it's banter.
Yeah.
Yes, as opposed to being a waiter. Sure. It's different. Sure. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But as far bringing it back,
come on, bring it back.
Affirmation wise, with positivity and just choosing actions that bring up your mood, your perspective, the way that you go about your day and everything like that. It takes waking up in the morning and thinking of a positive thing. It's almost like gratitude, right? And I'm learning how to proactively practice gratitude in different ways right now. Like, because everybody thinks, thank you. It's almost like, I love you. Mm-hmm. You could throw that away as a, how are you doing? Oh, I'm fine. Are you fine?
Right.
It's, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Are you really having a good day today? I answer that question now truthfully whenever I ask that.
Does it set people off? People at the grocery store are like, oh, well, that's honest. I'm like, well, you asked me, I don't have a question.
Well,
I'm telling you, I'm in a bad mood.
Yeah, it's like, how are you? Are you really, do you really want to know? Or
exactly.
So
I love it.
But you have to, it's those little interactions and exchanges throughout the day, throughout your life, throughout, every single moment where you just kind of use that to be more mindful. And then you can instead of going on automatic, you can really be present and be positive. It doesn't mean you aren't going to be in bad moods. You're not going to get hangry. You're not going. That's real. That's just real life. But on a general big picture note, you can do things to help lift, your perspective, your scope on how you are going about your day.
But I think what you said was really good, and you hit on something where it's like, people think that you just have to be positive all the time or else you're a victim and you're being negative. However, it keeps you in alignment when you have those moments and go, I'm in a bad mood, but give me an hour. I do that all the time. I'm like, they're like, how are you? And I'm like, I was great an hour ago. Next hour, I'll probably be better.
Yeah.
Not great right now. And it lets people take a deep breath and go, oh, that's an honest moment. And it keeps you in alignment as opposed to being like, I'm good. And then you go home and you take it out on your family.
And it's okay to ask for space.
Absolutely.
You know what? Overstimulated right now. Too many people. I need some space.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just feel like everybody is going to the fantasy, especially with like Instagram and social media. And it's what I try to help people and teach people is like, get to your highest and best, because your highest and best is not my highest and best. Both of us could want this fantasy of the same movie we watched about the perfect whoever and the perfect car and all that stuff. And like, that's not real. Right? Yeah. I look at Instagram and all these Instagram, and I'm like, even the plastic surgery, I'm like, that's not real. However, if there's something about it with affirmations, you can look at certain people without comparing and go, what do I like in that aspect of her life that I believe she has? Yeah. Okay, grab that vision boards, right? And I believe in vision boards.
Love a vision board.
I do. Everybody's like, oh, that's cheesy. I'm like, have you ever really done a vision? Why not? You've got a clock on the wall.
Yeah.
Yes. So why don't you just, if you have a clock on the wall, you got have something that you visually look at. Because what is time anyway at the end of the day? You know what I mean? And when I look at the vision board, I'm like, okay, I may never get to that, but is that my fantasy or my highest and best? But I'm visualizing what I want and what feels authentic. What I wanted 5 years ago is not what I want
or what
now.
you hope. Big time. That is a big statement right there. And you also want to manifest for yourself certain things. And that's you putting in the work, not leaving it up to some unknown forces to all of a sudden just throw it in your lap. Right, exactly. It's like you putting in the work, the self-work, the self-growth, the maturity, the individual, building your skills, all this that can bring you closer to what your goals are, that vision board. You can manifest that for yourself. That's you doing the work and putting in, stuff for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I would start going back to what we were saying about boundaries, communication. I think all of the episodes we've all had leads up to this, right? So once your communication, your boundaries, you know who you want in your life, I think it minimizes, right? The amount of people that you have to deal with, what your energy goes to allow it being about you and being about what you want, like you were saying, manifested into what your highest and best and where you want to be.
Well, and honestly, we're talking about being authentic with yourself, honest with yourself, good, bad, ugly. Would just be honest and start where you're at. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think it starts with waking up, right? We wake up, have a mantra. Like, I'm just like, because I wake up, I talk about it in my book. I'll wake up and I'll be like, and it's early with clients. Yes. It'll be, Vanessa, I will be up at 4:45 and I will be like, fuck that. I'm not a morning person. I'm just like, this is awful. And then I'm like,
I'm not a morning person.
Reset it. I'm alive. Whoa. Thank you. I have another breath. And it's hard. Don't get me wrong. I'm not waking up being like, okay. But it's taken time where I'm like, okay, because you know what happens? If I wake up and I'm cranky, I'm in a bad mood, and I allow myself to keep being in a bad mood, what I think about this most is in my behavior. Yeah. If I'm in a bad mood and I'm like, F this day, I hate this day anyway, what am I going to do? I'm going to go to the fridge. I'm going to eat some donuts. I'm going to eat some bad stuff because I'm not positive enough about my feelings and thoughts. Exactly. And then I'm going to eat bad as opposed to waking up and going, wow, what is my body doing I can go like this. I can move my hand up and down, and some people don't even have arms, okay? Yeah. And I can train people, and people are trusting me, and I have to remind myself of that, And then I go, okay, get up, got it. And then I get in a better mood, and then I'm like, okay, I want to drink that water and lemon as opposed to just like, slug to the coffee machine. I'm like, the lemon's going to help energize my body, and then have coffee. Yeah. So it really sets the tone for the rest of the day. And it doesn't mean you got to be in a great mood all day. No, but
help yourself.
Yeah. And positive thinking, because we talked about it before, but our brains are meant to go towards negativity because trauma, and people think a lot of times when I say trauma, it has to be some big momentous event that happened in your life. No, it could literally be that you grew up and the garbage truck would be outside every day because you lived across from, because I did this. I lived across from a market, and every morning it would wait. And I hate being woken up at, like, again, it was 4 in the morning.
With ya.
And it'd be like, and I would be like woken up, and it was a trauma for me. And I say that not in a way that I'm like, oh, I'm so traumatized. However, it reminds me when I do wake up that early moving forward, even though I've moved places since then. I hate waking up early because I was woken up from the truck all those years. Why am I blending those together? I have to remind myself I'm not there. I've actually grown to move from that apartment with that human that I was, and I'm actually in a way better space right now. And I have people paying me for my expertise. I'm not just being woken up by a truck anymore. I'm in control. So it's shifting that narrative and reminding yourself of why.
Find the things that are working. Find the things that are going well. Remind yourself that you are doing good. Oh, I get it.
And let's say you're not. Let's say I used to wake up and let's say I reverse it.
Sure.
So I used to be waking up at 4:45 and all that. And then now I'm in a place where the garbage truck, and I have nothing to do with my life, and the garbage truck does wake me up at 4:45. Then that gives you an opportunity to go, all right, I can't control it. I'm here now. I'm going to wake up and I'm going to do something positive. I'm going to journal. I got woken up. I'm not going to be angry about it and then fester the whole day. I'm going to journal. I'm going to do something creative to get me back to where I need to be, whether it's debt, whether it's creative, lack of creative debt that you have going on inside of you, whatever it is. Because people will be like, because I think personally, one of the worst things that can happen to somebody, I look at these child stars and I'm like, oh my God, I feel so bad because, we've grown up in LA, but just getting to the height of fame at such a young age, all you have to do from that height is fall. And I can't even imagine what that's like. However, if you're in a place where you're that height and then you fall, reroute. You know what I mean? Pivot. And it's not going to be...
strong pivot.
I love a strong pivot. And that's important, a strong pivot. I love that. And then just go your own path, go your own way. So whether because people are,
it's the same thing. It's like, take your power back. You can take accountability and change it. You can make the actions to, make it better. And that's really what we're saying. And again, easier said than done. But if you do these things and find what works for you, it's not like, you do all of it. You could pick one, pick two, but be kind to yourself.
And also, like we were saying, make sure that circle is tight and beneficial and awesome and supportive and great. Because then you can bounce in that tight circle a lot better with the days that you have in down, where you can call and you can trust that person, as opposed to not having boundaries with other people and not trusting. And then they're like, oh, my day's even worse. It's not going to make you feel better.
And always know that, give yourself the space. Find the space where you can be vulnerable. Where you can be soft, where you can fall apart, friends, lovers, even by yourself, but also be kind to yourself in those moments, Now, how do you say that to people with egos? Because I'm sure everybody here has a friend or whatever where they know their shit don't stink.
What's an ego, though? Tell me what you think. Like, how would you define ego? Like, why do you think people have egos?
You need an ego. You do need an ego. It's your sense of self, right? And you want it to be healthy. You want to, it's confidence, it's swag, it's all those different things, but in healthy doses, not, and you also want to be honest too about it. It's your own self cheerleader in a weird way. I don't know if I'm using the right words right now to describe it because it's such a thing. But when it's to the extreme, when you can't take criticism, when you can't look at yourself constructively, when you are overblown, people can confuse ego with, arrogance, all this synonyms that go along with that right there. But that's where it starts to narcissist. Yeah. That's where it turns unhealthy. Mm-hmm. And so what's the balance with that? And how do you play with that? Because you do need a healthy ego to talk in front of a group, to share what your beliefs are. You do, that's your ego helps you to kind of put it across there with your passions and stuff like that. That's good. Mm-hmm. That's healthy. It's when it becomes overblown. And what is overblown?
It's a lot of the yes people. And I think this is why this is important. With anybody listening right now that haven't heard our past episodes, I think there's a method to our madness that I think is working really well because, we talked about the boundaries. We talked about consistency. We talked about, relationships with yourself, self-love. We've started that and then landed here right now. Yeah. And I think going back to what you were saying is I think once you're clear, then I've got a playlist and her name's Vicky. So that's my ego. So when I'm in a mood, I got this playlist of like 80s, 90s, when I'm just mean to myself and I just don't think I'm the best. And then I go take my 30-minute walk or I get on the bike and Vicky's sound. And I have a few but they're all labeled Vicky, because that's my middle name. Right. That's my alter ego. And I'm like, Vicky gonna do this. And then I just have music that pumps me up. Wow. And then it brings things in my mind that are like, I want to create this because Vicky can do it. Like this girl's gonna do it. And then that's where I can work out with my ego. That's Vicky. And I know it seems kind of schizophrenic,
no, it's
but
great.
I love it.
It's almost like the writing left, right hand thing.
Exactly.
It's a different way of doing it for sure.
Yeah. And then I've got this music that pops off that brings back childhood memories that are like happy. And then the little girl in me that would watch Madonna. And I was like, Madonna did not give a shit. You know how many people shamed Madonna for the sex book and all that? And look at the Instagrammers now that are just like wanting to be a piece of what she did and got shamed for it. She set the way. Now you want to hate on her or whatever. That's a woman that did what she wanted to do on her terms. Good for her. For sure. So I got a lot of Madonna in there. I got a lot of just different things. So that's when I'm like, I don't need anybody else's opinion. I'm going to turn to my music and it's labeled Vicky. Vicky's Fierce Today. Vicky. And it's different things. And then I go and set off in my own way. And then I come back. Ooh. And then I figure out how to balance it all. But I think playlists are great. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I think music. And then titling it. Like, go do this, girl. Like, go out for 30 and
but then you're bigging up yourself. You're like, because
if you're not going to be your own cheerleader, who else is going to cheer for you?
Boom.
Are you kidding? And then people think that's egotistical and ego, right? Egotistical. No, that's called maintenance. That's called self-maintenance so that I can work it out within myself, be my cheerleader. And then when I go out in the world, there's a difference between, hi, can you hear me? Needy. And as opposed to, hey, I want your attention. I'm not needy. I'm wanty. There's a difference where it's like, I've worked that needy stuff out within myself. Then I go, I want for you and I figure, and then I can balance that, right? Yes. How many people do you go, oh God, and then their ego, and they flash these things, and I'm like, you are the most insecure human at heart because you haven't worked that stuff out of keeping up with the Joneses and what you like about yourself, right? Like we've talked about in the past in all these episodes, and then you go, like me. And then you become confident and cocky. What is confident and cocky?
Well, those are people overcompensating for a whole other,
Yeah, they call themselves confident, but they're cocky. However, I think they're cocky because they're not confident. Because a true confident person doesn't need to talk. Doesn't need...
Well, you can feel it too, when they enter the room, the whole bit.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, and then I think you should talk about yourself and be clear and all that, but you don't need to get affirmations from people you don't know. That's a different thing. I don't need you to kiss my ass if you don't know me.
You don't need acknowledgement. I don't need it. You've given yourself your own acknowledgement, you're saying.
I like if people want to acknowledge me. I don't need it, but I want it if you want to give it to me.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll be wanty, not needy with it. You know what I mean?
Get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, but my playlist, girl, and I grew up with it. Well, I grew up with an 80% hard of hearing father.
Yeah.
Never heard music in his life. So I'm rediscovering what music is, V. I never had music in the house. It was noise. I don't know how you grew up, but sitting at a table and singing at the table was illegal. It's like for dancing for the Quakers because my dad couldn't hear seriously. It's what's that movie? That Footloose? Yeah. I feel like that's what it was at the dinner table because my dad couldn't. It was noise. It was so we couldn't do it. And there was a lot of joy that was
taken away.
Yes. However, it wasn't just to be rude. It was because he couldn't hear.
Right.
So it was noise. And he wanted, and can go back to communication.
Yeah.
We couldn't communicate through song.
Wow.
So, but now I'm relearning this and I'm starting, instead of going, I never knew what songs are, I'm re-educating myself about people like, I don't know, like so many people, so many artists, like Queen. Never grew up really knowing Queen. Never grew up really, Bob Dylan, yes, but like the Rolling Stone, like so many people where they're like, oh, how do you not know that artist? And instead of being like, well, I have a dad like that, I'm just like, I'm going to rediscover them. And then I'm going to put them in my playlist.
Yes.
And then Vicky's going to go and do her thing
and rock
for a
out.
half hour. Yeah. And then come back.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, music is just a soundtrack.
Well, you grew up with, with your stepdad. Yeah. Are you kidding?
Yeah, music was just part of the life.
Yeah.
It still is.
Yeah, it should be.
Depending on your mood and stuff like that, it's just a good kind of medicine, honestly, medicine for the soul for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great. I think a lot of people turn to music, and that you should. Turn to music, dance it out.
Yeah.
I love social dancing.
I know. You're good at it, girl. I love it.
Publicly, because you can just groove out, right? You can do those, and those are wonderful things. It takes some ego to do that, right?
Oh, I got this quote. Hold on.
Do it.
I got one for you.
Do it.
Okay, here we go. You often feel tired, not because you've done too much, but because you've done too little of what lights up your soul.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Isn't that good?
So true.
Isn't
so
that?
true?
Yeah.
Because it's we keep coming back to this point, but it's about the self-love, giving back to yourself so that you could be a light and in turn give back that way. You have to give to give, receive, all those things. And I feel that quote. That's really true.
And there's nothing better that I love as I'm getting older, as when someone's just looking me up and down and wanting to be a dick to me. I will turn it on them and give them some beautiful affirmation. But but I have to be in a room with them or any of that. I'll be like, you look really nice. Wow, you're because I will find one feature. There's got to be one, as long as they shut their mouth. Because if I can't stand it, but I'll be like, well. Have you ever watched when you give people some of that? They change. If you watch that,
oh, absolutely,
they shift, and then you're like,
that's
okay,
that southern thing where you like,
oh, bless your heart, that way. Okay,
bless you.
I'm not that fake, but yeah. But if I have to deal,
but that's a positive way of dealing with that kind of interaction, right?
Yes. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to eat shit.
Use the words. Our lovely, wonderful, amazing friend Emily. She's taught me so much with her words, but special.
Oh.
Special is a great use. That can be applied in so many different ways. Wonderful.
Oh,
yeah. Mm-hmm. You just find those words, and I have so much fun finding that because when you apply that to poopy situations, it's gold.
Yeah,
it's gold, and actually, it turns a crappy situation into something better, a good story, it lightens up the experience. It just makes it all better than what it could be.
Well, because because it's kind of like with actors with auditions walking in the room, like we've talked about. If you're going to have my 2 hours and I'm stuck with you because it's my husband's dinner party meet or whatever, and I'm going to be sulking through. No, I'm not going to do the sulking. I'm going to make it as best for me as humanly possible to try to, and being positive to get through it.
Yeah.
Sometimes fake it till you are it. Like then
fake
it
it till
works.
You make it. It works.
Doesn't mean kissing someone's ass. Doesn't mean lying. I find one feature and I go, oh, that's interesting. And people love talking about themselves too. So if you're in a weird situation with someone that you don't know how to talk,
that's a good way to do it.
Question.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, wow. And be positive with how you ask, the tone and all of that. Because otherwise, what, you're going to sit there miserable for 2 hours? That's my life too. And I'm stuck with it. And sometimes as being an adult, you don't want to do things, but you got to do them.
But you got to do them.
You do. You have to show up.
That's just being an adult. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And if you don't, then that's a whole other conversation.
But then it affects you. It's it's like that saying where it's drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
Yeah.
It's so true. Mm-hmm. It's like manifesting and holding on to it, and you're so mad. I remember listening to Oprah, and she was saying how, and she's Oprah, right? Yeah. And she was mad at this one person, like real mad, and she saw them from across the way, like at a restaurant. They didn't know she was there.
Yeah.
And they were laughing, enjoying their life. And she was so angry.
Furious.
And she was like, oh, they don't even know I'm mad. They don't even care I'm mad because they're enjoying their life and I'm here festering with it. And I thought that was so significant no matter who you are.
That's huge.
Right?
Yeah.
And that it's eating you.
They're not losing sleep on her. Ooh.
And I'm sorry, we need to less stress our cancer because honestly, I don't care how controversial this is. With the body and the toxins and all the stress, we all gonna have stress. But if you can minimize the stress you have, I've seen people where I'm like, there's no cancer in your family at all.
Yeah.
However, you have the most high stress job on the planet, and now you've got stomach cancer. There's something to it. Like there's something to the stress.
Stress is a killer. Absolutely.
It really is.
I mean, I know as a young person in college, it's the first time when people are out there, they're living their life independently. They don't have parents telling them what to do, putting in the rules and all that kind of stuff. And it was just a lot. It was a lot to take in. It was discovering, it's messing up, it's all that. Also trying to achieve because I'm a high achiever, A-type person, depending on who you are. But I was just stressed. And stress is so crazy because you don't even know when you're stressed.
And then your neck's up here. You're like, I'm not stressed.
Oh, yeah, that's where I hold it all in my neck and my shoulders and the whole thing. But I had to learn how. So what happened was during one of our shows, right? Because acting conservatory, the whole bit. But one of our shows, I essentially lost my hair.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
that's your body talking.
It is your body talking.
Wow.
And it's a thing called alopecia. In fact, it affects a lot of women, women with thinning hair or whatever. And there's different forms of it. Mine was just...
and you have thick hairs.
Yeah, I have a lot of it too. So the fact that... And it's such a distinctive thing. It was like a silver dollar size ball and that just went in the middle of a show.
Wow.
It was insane.
Wow.
And obviously I freaked out. Had to go through it and figure out what it was because I was like, what is this? Oh my God, I could be bald. I was like, I've never seen, you know what I mean? What do you do?
Yeah,
and then when you
do?
Well, you have to treat it. You get
But
shots.
Did you minimize the stress? Like how was the process getting out of that? That's crazy.
So the doctor was like, you're stressed. And I'm like, what am I stressed about? I'm just going to college.
Right.
But I had to relearn how I process information, process scenarios, how I go about, doing the things that I do, right? If you're experiencing a lot of panic attacks at the time and you don't understand why, anxiety, all those type of things. And it was all piling up because it was just too much. I was overwhelmed, overstimulated, and not kind of really processing any of it, but doing all of it. So I had to relearn how to do certain things. I cut out the coffee for a little bit.
That's
for
good.
about a year.
Yeah.
Because caffeine will get you going. And obviously I was drinking way too much each day.
Right. Yeah. That's a good tip.
And then we were doing yoga. You know how you do yoga? Part of our program was doing yoga like every morning at 7 in the morning.
Yeah, it was judgy yoga. It wasn't like, because we were in a conservatory.
Still.
I felt judged in my yoga class, but yeah.
Oh, no, fully.
Yeah.
Actors, the whole bit.
Did yoga help you, though?
It helped.
That's
because
good.
Then I had to go, okay, forget that noise. Let me actually do the work. Let me do the yoga. Let me do the breathing. Let me get into my down dog. Let me just stretch.
Like reteach it. Like, who cares if you're judging me? This is my practice.
Because that was my own mental getting caught up in the bullshit, pretty much, instead of just doing the do and getting through my day.
Right.
The petty. I had to let go of my petty and realize all that extra noise that I was involving myself in and going, oh, okay, cut that out. I just had to change behaviors.
Yeah.
And even now I can still fall back into it, but I know now how to get back on the wagon. I know how now to be like, okay, too much. Let me breathe. Let me chill. And that's where put my hand on the ground, hug a tree, grab a leaf. That's where all that came into play because I had to find ways to process stress in life and all those type of things when life hits you, and how do you move through it so that you can just get better and grow instead of just feel like beat down by it all.
Wow. And it took your body talking to you.
Yes.
Because that's what I try to do with my life with people. I try to get them not to get to that point of their body, but eventually your body's going to talk to you. So,
I mean, that probably was what was the inciting thing that just kind of got me on this road of betterment, self-betterment, self-help.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. So,
listen, if we can, plants grow faster when you talk nicely to them.
Absolutely. That study is amazing.
So be careful about the way you talk to yourself because you're listening.
Yes.
Love that quote. It's so true. It goes back to what we were saying with the rubber band and all of that. Like, because that literally, you'll internalize all of that, be negative, your hair's falling out, you're having stomach cancer, all of it. Seriously, broken leg, everything. Yeah. You can't just run from one thing and think that the rest are going to follow. You have to really walk through it. You can go to the moon and your shit's going to come with you. You know what I mean? My mom said that.
So true.
Live in LA, we went to New York for school. And my mom was like, if you think you're going to run away to New York and your shit's not going to follow you, you got something coming. I was like, whatever, I'm out of here. And then I got to New York, have to unpack all of this emotionally. And I was like, oh my God.
The way to turn that around is I needed the space so that I could work it out. Because imagine trying to work that out while you were home.
So I went to New York.
Yes.
You too.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yeah. No.
Although I did cry that first week. I was like, I made a mistake. I don't want to
Me too. I literally was like, Mom, at the payphone. Because I didn't even have a cell phone back then. I was like, Mom. She's like, you can come home. And then I was like, no, I'm not coming home. Not yet.
I remember that phone call too. It was talk about tough love. Oof.
Did they say you could or couldn't come home?
Oh, no. I'll tell you this. It was crazy.
Break it down. Yeah.
So I just, man, it was hot. It was New York. I didn't know anybody. I was just like, what the hell is going on? I had my stack of quarters that I had because you had to roll everywhere with the quarters, right? And the payphones were in the basement.
Oh, my. Yes.
And I was in
1999? 2000.
99. And I had my quarters the whole bit. And went down there. It was a line. I was last in line.
This is like prison. This is literally, and the guy that created our school, it
was designed for defending riots, right? Because it was built in the 70s.
SUNY Purchase, baby.
Right. Bricks, the whole bit. So there's two phones. There was two lines for each phone, the whole thing. And I remember everyone's just looking at each other, pretending as if they're not listening to the conversations. But how can you not? It's the payphone and you're talking there. Miss moments like everybody's having their moment.
I love it.
Because everyone's there for the same reason, to call home and be like, no. So I get there after waiting probably over an hour or so, right? God. And funny enough, the other person last in line was also there at the same time. We just say it this way. We both looked at each other and went, and just put our quarters in and started calling. I call, and my mom picks up, and she's like, "Hi, honey," and I go, "Mama," and I'm trying to be brave, and next thing you know, it was just tears, tears. So she was like, "I made a mistake. I'm so sorry. I don't want to come home." And you know what? We'll do it over again. It's fine. I'll just go home. We didn't even start yet, so I'm sure we could figure some. I'm every excuse, everything. Oh. And she goes, "Oh, okay, honey. All right. Well, maybe you just need to wait a couple of days. Mom."
Yeah.
And my stepdad, he gets on the phone, he grabs it, and he goes, "Okay, we love you, but this is a decision you made." And I'm like, "I know, but now I'm here, and I changed my mind." And he's like, "And you didn't have to make that choice, but now that you're there, you're just going to have to see it through. So what we're going to do now is we're going to hang up." And I was like, no, don't do that.
I waited an hour for this call.
And I mean, tears, alligator tears,
please.
Right? And you're looking at the other person like...
Kids don't know these days.
No clue.
Walk outside by yourself. Yeah.
And he was like, "And we're going to hang up, and then we're not going to pick up for like a week. You call us back in a week."
Wow.
Okay? And I was like, no. And I was like, "No, I love you. Please don't do..." Click. And it was...
That's some tough love right there.
Oh, dude. And I remember, it was the literal slide down the wall, tears in your face, just sitting there. And I'm looking at the stack of quarters still in my hands. I had time. And I was just like...
That is funny.
And I look up, and it was funny enough. You know who that person was on the other side?
No.
On the other phone? It was Jacques. And we were both in the same class.
Funny.
We just did not know that because we hadn't met anybody yet. We hadn't introduced ourselves yet.
Orientation time.
Oh, dude. Little do I know, it was one of the best experiences of my life. I have lifelong friends, and there it is. But life.
But that was good affirmation from JJ, though, for him to just be like, you made the choice, affirming,
That's good parenting right there.
Very good
Tough
parenting.
Love. It's real.
But giving you that, you made this choice, you wanted this. We love you.
But you gotta, you know.
And he was probably having so much fun with your mom. You're out of the house.
Empty nest.
He's drinking, having so much fun with your mom, being like, okay, she'll call back in a week. And
they were great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They were fun.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are good tips, though, V. So, your body talking to you, affirmation.
Well, it's just saying how important affirmation, positive affirmation for yourself is, right?
Yeah.
You really just gotta and the work that you have to do to actually do it. It's just not going to happen out of the blue. It's just not going to be there. You do it. Do it for yourself.
And tell yourself in the mirror, like that little Jessica girl where she's like, you're beautiful, people love you. And if someone else is going to do it for you, be your biggest cheerleader. Yeah. And then go around too, if you're not getting the affirmation you need, go around and make someone's day and really be authentic with it and just go, I really love your eyelashes. They're so pretty. And really be authentic. Don't just make shit up.
That's my form of bless you.
But there you go. But if you put positive, maybe it'll come back.
Yes.
And maybe you'll start that energy and just go to a random person. Just I love your shirt.
Yeah.
And then make that energy happy.
Yes.
When you're in a bad moment, be mindful and make it. So that's a good tip. So I'm going to do more of that. Every day this week, I'm going to look at someone random and compliment somebody.
For sure.
Okay.
I'll do that. Okay. That's easy to do. Compliment yourself even.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I will. Yeah.
Because I'm the worst. I know that. I'll look at a picture and tear it down in a heartbeat.
In a second. I know. And then our men are just like, what? Are you, who? You look great. What are you talking about? Yeah. No. Yeah. Okay. Good tip.
All right.
Thank you for this. Way to go, BB.
Good job.
Okay. I'm going to practice now. Come back.
Love you.
Love you.